Welcome back, everybody, to 3 Point Lines here on the Parlay. I'm your host, Luca Rosano, alongside my co-host, Noor Zainab. And we are here on this Thursday where we have all but one game. That is because March Madness has stolen the thunder from the NBA for this one day only. It is St. Patty's Day as well, so happy St. Patty's Day to everybody watching and listening. Nor, I know you're excited to cover this game. We got Detroit and Orlando. But before we get into that, how are you doing? I'm at 55% coming into today. What's your record looking like?
I'm at a whopping 54%, Luca. I am slowly but surely trying to get right back at you. We had 12 games last night. I think I got 9 of them right. The 3 that I did not get right were, well, of course, the Warriors. We both fell to that one. Thanks a lot, Celtics.
No, I had Boston. I remember
Wait,
you're
yeah,
looking
you
at me
had
weird. You're like, wait, you're
Boston.
taking Boston? Yeah, see?
Oh my God, you know what? Now I feel way worse. God damn it. So you actually had Boston. I took the Warriors, and that was embarrassing and ugly. Curry did go down, and he was taken
Yeah.
aside to take an MRI, but it came back, thankfully, that he had missed a potentially huge injury, and he should be good to go moving forward. But yeah, lost that to the Celtics. Dallas, I think they were favored by 3 points. They only won by 2, so that was great. And then the Hornets. I think that was a sleeper pick, right? The Hornets
We
won
both got it
against
wrong.
the Hawks
Yeah.
last night. What's your take on that?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was wild. You actually did better than me overall. I'm impressed. I thought I had a good record of 8-12. You went 9-12. You know what did piss me off though? I got Dallas right, but I didn't. I had them to win, but then I remembered they were favored by 3 and they only won by 2. I thought
Yeah.
the Nets were the favorites, so I thought I had another impressive win, but no, you actually won that one. Yeah, it was a wild night in the NBA. A lot of interesting games, a lot of interesting narratives. And I guess before we get into our pick here of the one game tonight, we can get into some of the narratives of last night. And let's start there. You kind of mentioned it. The Celtics beating the Warriors. Big statement win for them. They go into Golden State, continuing that trend of them having success against this Warriors team. But the biggest story was, of course, what happened during this game. And that was Marcus Smart going after the ball, falling for the loose ball. But as he did that, he fell awkwardly on Curry, and Curry had to leave the game. Now, thankfully, it is said that X-rays did come back negative, but Curry's probably going to be back just in time for the first round. So it looks like he won't be back for this regular season.
Ooh.
What was your thought when seeing that? Did you think it was a dirty play or just a basketball play for Marcus Smart? I feel like we've had a ton of those this week, going back to the whole LeBron and Scottie Barnes incident.
I think you can also do it the same way with Marcus Smart. It could also be taken as unintentional. It could just be a basketball play. The thing is, it could look as always very, as if like it was very intentional. They really meant to go after someone and hurt them. But from the outside looking in, someone who's really playing on the court, their main job and focus at that point is to just save the ball for their team. So I'm not really sure how much they're really thinking and experiencing about who's around them, what's going to happen afterwards, what's the next aftermath. But in that moment, your main focus is to just save the ball for your team and do what you can. And I'm sure there's no way Marcus Smart feels good about that. I'm sure they've reached out to one another. They've had some talks over it. But the biggest takeaway from that for sure is, as you mentioned, that Curry will be back. It wasn't the season ending, the, career difficulty injury that we had to worry about. It was just something that he has to take care of now. And if anything, this gives him a little bit of rest, I guess. Like the other guys
Yeah.
have had some time off, right? Like Draymond took a month off, 2 months off. You've had Clay, who's obviously they went through injuries, but they had a couple resting and some time to recuperate. And this could be, in hindsight, time for Curry to just take a second back and come back ready for the playoffs and get ready for that team and that run. Only thing here would be, what's this team going to look like once the playoffs come around? And especially now when the West is getting a lot better in spite of who's healthy, right? You've seen the Clippers last night. You've seen Jokic without everybody else around him. So what's the Warriors state going to look like without Curry moving forward up until April once the playoffs start? That's kind of what my concern is. But I'm sure with him back, it's going to be the same Warriors team. They already have Draymond back. They have Clay there now. It just sucks that you lose Curry right when you're got completely healthy. But that's how the game of basketball goes, and there's not much we can do about it.
Yeah, that's the biggest takeaway for me is just when it looked like the Warriors were going to be back in full force, another unfortunate injury hits this team. And I think it's going to make for a whole lot of parity in the West because you mention it. When Curry comes back for the first round of the playoffs, is there going to be a little bit of some rust that's going to show? Are they going to need a little bit of time to get it going? The playoffs are going to come fast. And another team is the Phoenix Suns. Chris Paul,
Yeah.
he's expected to be back for the first round as well. So you got two teams in the Suns and the Warriors. Can one of those bottom seeds, catch them at the right time? Like right now, if the playoffs started, theoretically, the Nuggets would be playing the Warriors and the Nuggets would be healthy. That would make for an interesting first round matchup if the Warriors go up against a Nuggets team that would be getting back Jamal Murray and maybe even Michael Porter Jr. And then you look at the Suns, they could be going up against a Clippers team that's been very, very savvy all year. And then you got the Timberwolves as well. They're going to be an enticing 7 seed. They would go up against the Grizzlies. They would probably feel good about that matchup. So there's a lot of parity, I feel, in the NBA this season, especially in the West. A lot of these lower seeds could definitely play spoiler. But yeah, I agree. I think it was a basketball play. I know Steve Kerr got very upset with Marcus Smart right after. You look at it again, Marcus Smart makes that play so many other times where he goes for the loose ball, extends himself like that. So I don't think there was any malicious intent there. Mm-hmm. But it is unfortunate because, I mean, Steph Curry is one of the best players in the NBA. You never want to see him go down. But thankfully, it's not a season-ending injury. That would have been horrible. And we will see Steph back come playoff time when it does matter. So, yeah, Celtics beat the Warriors. I mean, you talk about dark horses. The Celtics look really legit right now. We'll see if they can keep it going. Right now, they are what? 4th in the East. So they would actually be hosting a playoff series. And that's because the Bulls, they continue to lose. And let's get to the Chicago Bulls. It was the same narrative with them. They went into Utah. They lost that game. And yeah, the Bulls just can't catch a break right now, it seems.
I don't have any words right now, Luca. I have no idea. You still have Levine dropping 33. You had Derozan with 25. But it's almost like as if we talked about this before too, as if Derozan has to have a superstar performance for them to completely come out on top. And I know it's a Jazz team. They are more experienced. They have been battle tested. They have been gelled together. Now they're healthy as well. So you can't really hold the two on the same standard right now. But does it worry you about the Bulls? Absolutely. What's happening there? How are you not able to at least make it a game? Like keep it within punching bags territory, but it's just been a matter of it looks like they give up, they let it end, and I think their defensive woes have been hurting them way more than they let on, and that's going to be a massive factor when it comes to the playoffs because all these other teams, they know how to play defense, they know how to stop you down, and they know how to play work in transition. And if the Bulls can do that, it's going to be I don't want to be there and involved once those narratives start about Derozan and Bulls and everything. So I'm hoping that they get it together to turn that whole spiel around. But it just, as of right now, doesn't look good. What do you think?
Oh, I'm ready for those narratives. I think we're going to hear them loud and clear in the first round.
I think it's going to be posters.
Yeah, it's going to be bad. And I feel for Derozan, but I can already see it now. First round woes, Raptors Derozan and Raptors fans. Some Raptors fans are going to feel bad for Derozan. But a lot of Raptors fans are going to love it and say, I told you so. DeRozan impresses you in the regular season, but then come playoff time, he lets you down. So, yeah, I think that is going to be the narrative. I mean, the Chicago Bulls team, I think injuries caught up to them. And, yeah, their defense is starting to catch up to them as well. And they're just not as good as what many people thought they were going to be. And they look like a shell of themselves every time they play a contender, every time they play a good team. That's not who you want to side with come playoff time because everybody's going to be good in the playoffs. Yeah. So the only way I see the Bulls getting past the first round is if they match up with Cleveland. And I feel like a lot of other teams are saying that. But if they match up with the Celtics, which would be the case if the playoffs started today, there's no way they're beating the Celtics in that series. I'm sorry, Bulls fans. It's just not happening. And speaking of the Raptors, they're moving on up as the Bulls are moving on down. And the Raptors actually tied the Cavaliers for 6th in the East, which is so lucrative because if you get into that top 6, you don't have to play in that play-in tournament. Right now, you talk about the Bulls going the other way, the Cavs are going the other way, and the Raptors are taking advantage of that. What's been your reaction to the Raptors moving up the standings, and do you ultimately see them getting that 6 seed? I mean, they're just coming off of a 5-0 West Coast trip. I think that's the first time in franchise history that's ever happened.
Yep, 5-0. And what? Beating the likes of the Nuggets, the Suns. And then we know the Clippers are unhealthy. We know they don't have Paul George and Kawhi Leonard there right now. By the way, another Western Conference team that's going to have someone coming back in Paul George very soon, so keep an eye on that as
Yeah,
well.
that's scary.
They're going to be super, super scary. I think that might be the team of the West once they're all super healthy and all together. But as for the Raptors, I think yeah, they're taking advantage of the fact that other teams are not getting are unhealthy, that they're not gelling right now, that they're not on fire currently. But at the same time, I think that this is also a team that's finally had time to gel together, right? They had an entirely new roster at the beginning of the year. There was maybe 3 or 4 guys that had played in Toronto in the past 2 years. So this had been an entirely new roster, a whole new group of guys that had not been playing together before. So they had to get gelling. They had to figure out what each other's moves were, what they expect on the floor. And then it's besides that, they've had injuries that were decimated in the starting 5. You had the bench that couldn't show up. You had trades happening. So there was a lot of, I guess, distractions that were happening throughout the year. But at this point right now, they still are injured. You still have Fred, who's not able to come in and come out. Like he played last night, but it was, as I think, as Nick Nurse has alluded, not just to Fred, but also to Gary Trent Jr., that they were not ready to play, but they wanted to play to get their team the win. And the fact that they weren't healthy, we still got that win over that crazy, stern, stubborn Clippers team in their own house. And now you're going to take on the Lakers. And now you feel confident taking on the Lakers, thinking that you can take them. And it's almost as if you lose against the Lakers, it's more so a slap on the Raptors than anything else. This is, they're turning their narrative around. I think seeing them in a spot right now that they can actually make the playoffs and not have to rely on the play-in is massive. I am the first person to tell you that I did not think they would even make the play-in. So I will bite my words. I will wear a paper bag on my head, whatever I have to do. But this team is coming together, and they're going to be very, very scary once they maybe add one extra guy here and there to get them to that contending finals level.
Yeah, but even now, I mean, I'm starting to believe in this team. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I might get my hopes up. But even now, looking at how they've played and then looking at their head-to-head record against some of the top-tier teams, I spoke about parity in the Western Conference a minute ago. There could be a lot of parity in this Eastern Conference. I mean, you look at the Raptors and then a team like the Nets, 2 teams that are not a top seed, potentially causing havoc in this East. I think the East is wide open right now. And the Raptors could be that team. They get situated against a Cavs team or even a Bulls team in the first round. And all of a sudden, this Raptors team could, in fact, be a second-round playoff team. And who knows what could happen from there on out. So it's just crazy to see how this team continues to gel together. Scotty Barnes' development. He's looking like a big-time player with every game. Siakam's playing like his old self. Van Vliet's that glue guy. OG still waiting in the wing. Yeah, I'm very excited about this Raptors team right now. And I think whoever wins that game next week between the Raptors and the Cavs will get that 6th spot. That'll be my prediction. I think if the Raptors can handle the Cavs next Thursday, that'll be a massive head-to-head win against them. I think the Raptors will avoid the play-in. And I had the Raptors in the play-in. I did not think the Raptors were going to be a top 6 seed at the start of the season, but it's looking more and more like it could be a reality with the way this team is playing, their defense too. Last night, how about Achua? The game-winning stop, preventing the 3 from even going up. Morris didn't even hit the rim. It just tells you how well this team is playing on both sides of the ball right now. So, I've caught Raptors fever again. And again, I don't know if that's a bad thing because they might just let us down and lose against the Lakers on Friday. But right now, how can you not be excited about this team?
Nope. You know what? Masai, Bobby, what they did this year, they still know exactly what they're doing. We're just people on the outside. We have no idea what's happening on the inside. But the fact that this team looks like this with the guts they have right now, that's amazing. But the other game last night also was the Brooklyn Nets taking on the Mavericks, where it was Dinwiddie's shot, the last game winning shot that got them that win. Again, a really great game with Doncic having 37 points, almost a triple-double with 9 assists and 9 rebounds, and Durant averaging 23. And then on the other side, you also saw Shea playing for Thunder, so he actually suited up, scored 34, took that to cover that spread against the Spurs. Thankfully, I actually took that one. I know Luca thought that Shea wasn't going to be playing, so Luca, I caught that one from you. I'm sorry.
That was a big win.
I know. I thought I knew what I was doing, and I really did. But moving on to tonight, we do have just one slate, just the one game. Not sure if anyone's going to be tuning in, if anyone's going to be watching, what the crowd's going to look like, but we here are going to cover it anyway, because at the Parlay, we care about small market teams. We take on the Detroit Pistons against the Orlando Magic, where the Magic are favored by -2.5 in this one. Luca, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are this might be the worst night in NBA history. Like, legit. Like, there's only one game on, and the one game is this. Like, I know they didn't want to compete with March Madness, the opening day of March Madness. I get it. But if you're going to have one game, at least make it good. Like, you're basically telling people not to tune into the NBA's product tonight just to watch March Madness. Literally, that's what they're doing with this game. I don't even know if their own fans are going to be tuning into this game with Orlando Detroit going head-to-head. But, yeah, we got to pick a winner for this one. I'm going to go with Detroit. I'm actually surprised Orlando's the favorite here. I know they're at home. They've been playing nice basketball lately. But Detroit, I mean, they've been on fire in terms of covering the spread. They just covered the other night against Miami. They've covered in almost every game, it seems, over their last 10. This is a team that's won outright. And, yeah, I mean, how can't this team go up against Orlando and be able to beat them? And I think they will. I think Cade Cunningham is going to continue to put up nice numbers. And Dwayne Casey's going to finish the season off strong. I mean, Detroit has a very bright future. I said that about this team last year, watching them play against the Raptors. You know, guys like Bay, guys like Cade Cunningham. I know, Jeremy Grant wants to go elsewhere, but this is a team that if they can add another nice lottery piece, which they will, Detroit could be a sleeper to maybe get into the play-in next year. I'm not ready to go that far, but they will be possibly a team that could be in playing contention as soon as next year with how well this team's playing. But yeah, I think they will take advantage of Orlando tonight. Expect Cade to have a big-time game. And, Detroit will cover the 3, and I wouldn't be surprised if they win it outright.
I completely agree with you. I have no idea who did this. How are the Magic favored in this matchup, especially after what happened against Kyrie? Like, as if I'm going to let them live that down. That's never going to happen. But you mentioned it too. It's going to be the basement dwellers tonight. It's going to go straight to DVR. No one's really going to be watching it, unfortunately. But why would you? Because you might not see Cade in this matchup, apparently. He is questionable right now, and Suggs has already been ruled out. So that battle of rookies might not even be happening tonight. And that might be the reason why actually, no, it doesn't make any sense, because if Suggs is out, why are you even favored at this point? You should not be favored at all. But Cade, I think you mentioned it too. The two teams right now, they have nothing to work for, nothing to live for. They're playoff, if they even had any aspirations, dreams, they were never within contact or within reach, but now they're completely gone. And I think right now what Detroit is doing is that they are trying to run that rookie of the year narrative for Cade, because this is the time to do it, right? Now you have the entire season, the rest of the season open for you. You have no expectations, and Cade can now just go out there and run his numbers up with no pressure to go and win games, but just to make himself an impactful player. Unless rookie of the year really matters about wins, then Cade, sorry, it's no matter how many points he gets, it's not going to work out for you. But as for tonight, if he does play, he's averaging 24 points in the last 5 games with 7 rebounds and 7 assists, meaning that he's doing pretty much everything on the court for his team. You mentioned that there's no Suggs for tonight, but Detroit has just been such a better team. They covered the spread against the Heat the other day, even after they were considered massive underdogs. And Magic, on the other hand, they were underdogs as well that night, but they lost to the Nets, and they lost massively. It was a disgusting blowout. So as for tonight, again, not sure what's happening. I think Vegas is just trying to, are they losing money? Are you trying to get people the wrong way? I'm not really sure, but we here at the Parlay tell you with our expert opinion, take the Pistons. Cade's probably playing and Suggs is out. So that alone is just your narrative right there.
Yeah, honestly, with or without Cade, I think I'm taking the Pistons tonight. I think that's a good game. Or a good team to take in this game. And I mean, if you are going to bet on this game, yeah, good luck. I'm staying away from betting on this game. I'm just giving you my expert pick, and hopefully you can make money off a game that I will not be betting on. I'm betting on a bunch of March Madness. I'm just putting that out there. Okay, we actually got a cool little segment here to wrap up the show. I thought since we had some time to kill, we only had one game to cover in the NBA, Noor and I are going to give you our top 5 current NBA duos, and we'll see if we have the same list, if we have different lists, and yeah, we'll just compare and contrast. So, Noor, I'll give you the floor first. your top 5 current NBA duos. You could go from 5 to 1.
Okay, so before I begin and explain, what we had said was this is going to be the duos of this year, and how they've been performing. So again, for my picks, this is not based off of a small sample size. This is not recency bias. I looked at it throughout the entire year. So with that being said, now that everything has been cleared, at number 5, I have Ja Morant and Desmond Bane. I think Ja's been obviously a superstar. He's been having one of the best seasons for himself. He's made himself, he plugged himself in the conversation of MVP. He's been one of the most explosive offensive players that we've seen in some time. He's finishing like 70% at the rim, and teams just don't know what to do with him. And then on the other side, you have Desmond Bane, who's pretty much Ja, but on defense. He's such a great perimeter defender, but he's also the best three-point shooter on his team as well. He not only holds the other team to 44%, but then he goes on the other side and he's the best at driving, pass a man, and go to the basket. And I think Bane's injury is the only reason why they're lower right now down the line. They should be probably higher up. But that's a duo that's going to run the league, or at least run the West for some time to come. And they have something special brewing in Memphis. So I have Ja Morant, Desmond Bane at number 5. Do you want to go 5 for 5? Should I just list all of them right now?
Yeah, we could go back and forth.
Okay.
So I'll give you my 5. First of all, that's showing some respect to them. I feel like the small market Grizzlies would appreciate that duo. I did not see that coming, but you know what? Ja Morant's emergence has been something special to watch. And yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize how good Desmond Bane is now and how good he can become. And it's funny, the Raptors had a chance to take Bane.
I know.
I don't know if you knew that.
I wanted him.
They took Malachi Flynn instead, so it would have been crazy to see Bane with the Raptors, but I like that. So I'm gonna go. So I'm gonna go with number 5 here. So I'm actually gonna go with Steph and Clay, and the reason why I have them at number 5 is they just came back together, and I know we didn't see them play a whole ton this season, but you know we still know what they're capable of doing. So you look at a guy like Stephen Curry. Obviously, he's been carrying a lot of the load. But with Clay coming back, I really think this duo is going to be something special to watch in the playoffs. So I know this wasn't really following the currency of this topic, but I don't know, to have a top 5 duo in the NBA, not include Steph and Clay, I think that would be just disrespectful to them. So that's why I put them at number 5. I didn't put them any higher. So I got Steph and Clay because of what they've done, and they are an all-time duo, and we know how special they can be. And I promise you, if Stephen Curry's healthy come playoff time and Clay's healthy, we're going to see exactly why this is still a top 5 duo in the NBA. So give me Stephen Clay at number 5.
I don't blame you at all. There's no way you can have a list that contains shooting and not have Steph Curry there. No matter how, if he's even played 2 games of the year, you got to have Steph Curry there. Okay, at number 4, not sure if you're going to like this one, but I actually have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And that's because I think Boston is just...
We got the same pick. I'm throwing it out there. We got the same pick. So high 5 on that one.
Hell yeah. Good job, Luca.
Number 4.
That's awesome. Look at that, Kev. We have that chemistry brewing already. But yeah, I think, in my opinion, I think Boston is just in the best position to win right now. They're playing like business. They did not start the year off strong, but I think their performance as of late has just earned them this spot right now. They only lost 3 games in the month of February. They just killed the healthy Warriors team last night until obviously Curry went down. But it's a lot thanks to their leading guys in Jason and Jaylen. Jason is averaging 27 points this season. Jaylen's 23 points on his own. They're just a scary duo, and they make Boston so scary. And they also make Boston likable, which I think is worse than scary because I don't want to like Boston, but they make Boston super likable. And I think their team right now is just maybe one final little piece away from being one of the bigger contenders in the East too. So those 2 guys, they have my respect. They have completely turned the Boston Celtics around this year, and they come in at number 4. What about you?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. What I will disagree with your point, though, is I feel like Boston can compete now. People forget that they were 2 wins away with Tatum and Brown from the NBA Finals a couple seasons ago, but then they ran into LeBron, who was playing literally his best basketball at that time. Like, that's the best version I've ever seen of LeBron. So now you talk about these 2 guys now with this Celtics team, the way that they're clicking, the way that they're gelling, a lot more, developed with their game, more mature, I would not be surprised if the Celtics team could make a run. And it pains me to say that being a Raptors fan, but I'm just being realistic. And
No, it's
yeah,
true.
these two guys together, it's true. You can't not like them, especially Jason Tatum. He's one of my favorite players to watch. His game is so smooth. When he's on, he is on. And that's why I never understood all the banter about, oh, should this team break up Tatum and Brown? Should they split them up? Should they try moving one or the other? I always thought that was stupid. It's like, why would you try to fix what's not broken? The Celtics needed help around them. They needed other guys to step up. It was never a problem with Tatum and Brown. And again, if they go in this postseason and they have a short-lived postseason run, maybe those conversations will come up again. But as of right now, we've seen what they're doing with the eye test. I mean, the numbers are there. The eye test is there. This duo can coexist. And it's crazy to even have that conversation knowing that these two guys were 2 wins away from the NBA Finals when they were like, 19 and 20 years old. So you got to give them a bigger leash on this one. Tatum and Brown, they're my pick as well at number 4. They've been a great duo to watch throughout.
No, you're right. They were so young back then. And to do what they did to the Cavs right after what the Raptors were swept out by LeBronto once again. It was crazy, right? We just saw the youngest, like the rookies, the babies of the NBA taking on the king. And it's like, wow, they were one step away from just making the NBA Finals. But all right, we got that established. That's crazy. We both got the Jays at number 4. That's called telepathy. That's called good co-hosting skills. But for me, number 3, okay, I have got, again, I know they're not the hottest team right now, but I've got Demar Derozan and Zach Levine. And I think what? It was good pick, bad pick, Luca. Tell me.
You know, it's funny. I was thinking about that duo too, but spoiler, I left them off just because of how bad the Bulls have been looking lately. But at the same time, I understand why you went with them because you don't want to diminish what they've done from an overall perspective. So
exactly
50-50 on that one.
No, you honestly took it out of my mouth because it literally is that. I think right now it's like the worst basketball we've seen any of them play in such a long time. And it just really, really sucks that we saw what they could do. And this is how they're responding at this time of the year, which, you know, you should be really pushing to make sure that your playoff spot, your contention are set to go and that you're ready for it. But they were the hottest talk of the town when duo Zach Levine and DeMar DeRozan were hot. And that was before maybe the month of February, right? Those pretty much the past 3 months, 4 months, they were really, really hot. And they were the talk of the Bulls. They were the talk of the East. And at that point, they might have not played a lot of the top teams in the West and in the East. And maybe that's the reason why they were having so many narratives. But that's the reason why I think they're here right now and they deserve it, because DeMar spent the entire year showing everyone that his mid-range is not gone out of style. It's still exactly intact. He does not need to take threes to be a superstar, to be an MVP level player, because he was in the MVP conversations as well at the beginning of the year, right? He was for the first 3 months. He was completely right in that narrative. And right next to him, you had Levine, who was able to do exactly what he could do on offensive end as well. But I think just having injuries really hit their starting 5, except DeRozan. And even with Levine being in and out of the lineup, really affected not just their chemistry and their gelling, but just their on-court production. And being that their first year, of course, you're going to have a couple of, distractions and things to battle through, especially through injuries. And I think, right now, they're terrible. It's not a great team, but I know there's the conversation of how they perform against good teams as well. But I think that we owe them the leisure of health and a full year of gelling before we can really judge what they can all do together. So I'm going to give them some respect, some honor, some some spots, and I'm going to put them at number 3. What about you?
Yeah, they just missed out on my top 5, and maybe it is recency biased, but just given how they've looked lately, I couldn't put them in this top 5. And actually, my next pick, it's going to be recency biased. I'm going with Harden and Embiid. I know they've played a total of 10 games together, not even, but you know this duo is special, and I didn't want to put them any higher because they haven't played more games together. But this is a duo that people already touted to be in the next Kobe and Shaq, which I think is disrespectful, because let this team at least go win a ring first before you put them in the same conversation as that. But we know these two complement each other's games so well. They are going to be a force to be reckoned with come playoff time. We're going to see this team against the Raptors on Sunday. It's going to be a fun matchup to watch. Yeah, just such a perfect complementary piece for one another. I cannot think of a better duo in terms of complementing the other so well. It's like you have the big, does everything right inside, and then you got the playmaking guard that can, get his and make everybody around him better. So yeah, these two, they should be up to some big things this postseason. And if not, Philadelphia is going to turn on them. But for right now, they look really good. So yeah, they're number 3, Harden and Embiid. I think they're going to keep up this great play.
Yeah, for right now, it is sunny in Philadelphia. And I honestly agree with you. I was very, very close to adding them in my top 5 as well. But for me, it was just like, damn, I can't have that much recency bias just yet. But you mentioned it. I think for me, there's always been that duo of having a big and giving him a guard that knows exactly how to shoot. That in my head has always been the perfect recipe for a basketball team. Like, how would you not want to have a massive big that can do whatever he can inside, and then a starky, sneaky little shooter that can just go around the perimeter and do whatever he wants to do too? Because now you have so many options, so much spacing, and they show you just that. Just don't watch that Nets game. That's when that narrative goes out the window. But okay, at number 2, speaking of another guard duo, I actually have Chris Paul and Devin Booker coming in at number 2. And the reason for that is the point guard is the point guard. He's a point guard for a reason. He's averaging 10 assists a game per game. And he's leading the league in assists right now. You pair that with anyone, let alone an offensive powerhouse in Booker, of course you're going to get a top 5 duo. When the ball is in Chris Paul's hands, you're going to be guaranteed a very good possession. And when the ball is in Booker's hands, you are now guaranteed a solid shot at the basket. We all know what they can do offensively, and we know Chris Paul's antics on and around the game, no matter which end of the floor it is. But with Devin Booker, he's also elevated his defensive game this year as well. He clocks in with I think 42.4 defensive field goal percentage, which now obviously helps the Suns that also ranks 2nd in the league on defense. And they've just been doing it all. With Chris Paul that's being injured right now, obviously does not help this case. But even without him, Booker has been carrying. Once he's back, I think that they have a solid shot to win that ring. And they've been proving everybody this year that whatever they got accomplished, it was not a fluke. And that can happen again and again and again.
Yeah, great minds think alike. I have the exact same duo at number 2. Yeah, we did not consult each other before this. We just went about our business and made our picks. Yeah, I think it's an obvious one though here because you look at how much success they've had together, and I know the Suns are still good without Paul, which shows you how good that team is. But they're so much better with Chris Paul and Booker playing together. Again, defensively, offensively, they complement each other well. Chris Paul is that engine to that team. Devin Booker is so much of a better player with playing with Chris Paul. And I was one of those people, I'll be honest, coming into the season, I didn't think the Suns were going to be as good as they've been. I did think they were going to be like a top 3 team still. But to be a team that right now looks like they could realistically get back to an NBA Finals and maybe even go one step further this time and win the championship, it's because of this duo. It's because of the veteran leadership of Chris Paul mixed with an emerging superstar type of guard, Devin Booker. They've proven it over a large sample size that this duo is no fluke. Once Chris Paul came to Phoenix, you knew Devin Booker was going to benefit more than anybody else. And they've just been such a fun duo to watch in that backcourt for Phoenix. So they're my number 2 as well. Yeah. Before you give your number 1, I think I know where you're going with that one. So.
I was going to say, I think you should know. I kind of gave it away at the beginning. But for me, Chris Paul, he's the only member of the Banana Boat crew that I want to see win a ring. But, okay, who's my number 1, Luca? Give it to me.
It's got to be Kyrie and KD.
Oh, wow. No, you got that wrong.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay, I gave away mine then.
you really, really did. I thought you got it because I thought I gave it away earlier too. But maybe
you have somebody else. Mine is Kyrie and KD.
Yours, Kyrie and KD. Okay, I don't blame you on that. That's a really good one. But
I'm surprised that yours isn't Kyrie and KD. Now I'm interested. Who's your number 1?
I didn't add them. I wanted to add Kyrie super badly, but I was like, can I really add him right now as a part-time employee?
I guess mine is a lot of recency bias. So I think we both went into this list with completely wrong descriptions. So my bad. I think yours is right. I played mine wrong. I'm just going with the best 5 duos right now. So
But
yeah.
I think yours is more so getting you ready for the postseason. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
that's what I'm thinking
your
of
duos
too.
are gonna
Yeah.
be ready to go intact for that. So for sure, mine are more so like in the olden past, like in general. But yours is going to be the guys that are gonna lead your teams completely. So for me, actually, it's you had him at number 5, and I have him at number 1. Steph Curry. I have Steph Curry and Draymond
Oh,
Green. Yeah.
you have Steph and Draymond.
I have Steph and Draymond, not even Clay. And that's because of how they were
Damn.
playing in the beginning of the year. Again, I completely I forgot that we were in 2022 right now. But
Yeah. No. That's listen. He's the glue guy to that team.
he was killing it for the two of them, right? Like the year on its own has been great to the Warriors, which is why they can kind of coast through whatever they have going on right now and not really worry about their playoff seeding or anything because they're kind of leading the league with the Suns. And the Suns have been healthier throughout the whole year and the Warriors have completely not been. And the fact that they can still kind of keep up and play catch up with the Suns says a lot about who they are. But when Draymond was healthy with Curry, they were a force, Luca. We saw that. We talked about it. Every single news outlet, every single national media was back on the Dub Nation train. And who could
Yeah.
honestly blame them? They looked unstoppable. They looked like themselves again. And they looked like this year was honestly, it was theirs. They had a stint without Draymond where they struggled and they were out, where he was out for 2 months. But now the gang is together somewhat. I know Curry's back out again, and it's just going to be a factor. But when Curry was healthy, when Draymond was healthy, when you still didn't have Clay in the mix, I want to say from the period of October to January, those two guys were leading their team and they were creating those narratives and they were going to be the talk of the Western Conference, even with the Suns doing what they were doing. So I feel like you got to go with Steph and Draymond, and they're going to be the same scary guys once the playoffs comes around. And we're going to be talking about them forever. What about you? Who's your number? Actually, you gave it away. Why do you have KD and Kyrie, Luca?
It's an interesting twist, though, because a lot of people think with Stephen Curry, oh, just pair him up with Klay Thompson. But yeah, especially this season early on, I mean, Draymond Green, I think, just elevates both those guys. And when you talk about big threes, they would definitely be one of the top big threes. And maybe that's our next idea for the next show when we have only one game to talk about. But yeah, no, I'm going with Kyrie and KD just of what these guys are capable of doing. In the small sample size we've seen them, we know the Nets are significantly better. And once Kyrie, if it happens, they lift the mandate, he's able to become a full-time player, we're going to see how special these guys are together. This duo, I think, is going to be so much better off than the trio that they had with James Harden. There's more of an opportunity for them to get their touches. Kyrie can do his thing. I mean, look what he did. He dropped 60 the other night, and KD kind of just coasted along. And then when it's not Kyrie, it could be KD going for 60, and Kyrie just coasts along. So these guys are going to be ready for the postseason. And right now, they are a scary number 8 seed are the Brooklyn Nets because of these two guys. And you could just tell the relationship they have with one another is so good already. And we haven't seen this duo even play a big enough sample size. That's the scary part. They look so good in the little games that they've gotten. Imagine giving this team an entire 82-game season. I don't even think they've gotten like 20 games total. And this is going back to last year, like 20 to 25 games total. It's crazy how limited they've been with either injury or COVID mandates. But yeah, this team will be ready to go. And I expect them to be, again, like Steph and Clay at number 5 on full display in the postseason.
I can completely see why you would have the number 1. Honestly, I'm crazy for not, because I know they've only played, like you mentioned, 20 games the past 2 years, but that does not matter. Those two together are better than any other duo we've mentioned today. No offense to any of them, but this is Kyrie and KD, and what they can do offensively, and not just offensively too, but look at KD's defense. Whatever he's able to do defensively allows Kyrie to open up offensively as well. And you mentioned it too. We had Kyrie go off for 60. The day before that, we saw KD go for 50. Those guys can just literally have nights off on the court while the other one goes off. They don't have anything to worry about. Now they're going to add Ben Simmons to that mix. Good luck to the rest of the world, the league, whatever. But all right, you guys, this was a special episode of 3 Point Lines where we only had one game tonight, so we had to make this super fun and super we have to make this exciting. And Luca came out. He had the best idea to give you our top 5 duos of the league right now. And we did just that. So let us know if you agree, if you disagree, if you have your own duos that we should hear about, and what's your idea for our next show that we can look at moving forward. But you know where to find us, all of our socials at The Parlay, as well as Parlay TV. We see you here every single day at 3 p.m. Myself, Noor, Zainab, and my co-host Luca Rosano for here, 3 Point Lines at The Parlay. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.